What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today, in our modern scientific world, creatures of the night are becoming less and less believable. While beings such as Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster will still have followings for some time, there are some monsters that are just too absurd to us today. Could they have been fake all along? Or are they still among us, hiding in the shadows? This series will take you through all 50 states' top 3 cryptids. Enjoy. Number 1. Melonheads. If you live in Connecticut, the chances are high you've heard of the famous melonheads. Though these creatures have been reported throughout the state, they are mostly said to live in Fairfield County. They are described as being short and frail, with long, thin arms and fingers. Their most famous feature, however, is their large, disproportionate heads. They are also said to have crooked teeth, and some have even claimed they have red eyes. Their origin story says in around the year 1960, a hospital that housed the criminally insane was burned to the ground. However, about 15 bodies were never recovered, and a manhunt for the survivors was unsuccessful. Some believe the fire was done on purpose as part of an escape plan. It is said that these escapees stayed in the wilderness and eventually turned to cannibalism. As for their large heads and other odd attributes, some believe it is due to decades of inbreeding. It is said some people who travel through the Melonheads' domain have gone missing, never to be seen again. One of the places most associated with Melonhead legend is a road called Dracula Drive, which people believe to actually be Velvet Street in Monroe, Connecticut, where in the 1980s a group of friends are said to have left their car to look for Melonheads. As they started walking down the road, the car behind them turned on. They saw the headlights flashing and the horn started to blare. Suddenly, the car started quickly driving toward them. They jumped out of the way, and as they watched it go by, they witnessed a group of big-headed beings in the seats. The car has never been found, but some swear they've seen Melonheads driving an old beaten-up car that perfectly matches the one taken on Velvet Street decades ago. Number 2. The Black Dog of West Peak. If you go hiking in the Hanging Hills mountain range of Meriden, Connecticut, you may encounter a friendly small black dog with sad eyes. It may bark, but no sound will be present, and as it walks, people have noted there being no footprints. It is said the first time you encounter this dog, you will have good fortune. The second time, usually sorrow or sickness follows, and the third time is death. It is said 6 deaths in the area are attributed to this phantom dog, and likely more that are unreported. The most famous story of the Black Dog talks of a man named W.H.C. Pynchon, a geologist who was studying rock formations on West Peak when he had his first encounter with the Black Dog. It was watching him as he worked, its tongue hanging out and its tail wagging. And when he was done, it stayed with him, happily trotting beside his wagon. When they eventually arrived at his hotel, the dog vanished. Some years later, Pynchon and a colleague were in Meriden. They decided to take a trip up to West Peak. When Pynchon told his colleague about the little black dog he had seen on his last visit, the colleague confessed that he had seen the same dog twice before. On their way up the hills, Pynchon said a line from the Bible entered his mind. "As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death." Could this have been a message from the Black Dog? As they were climbing up to West Peak, one of them looked up to see the black dog, its tail wagging happily and silently barking hello to the men. Suddenly, his friend lost his footing and fell to the earth below. This had been the man's third and final time seeing the black dog. Some years later, still not believing in the legend, Pynchon returned to West Peak. Though there is no evidence he saw the fabled black dog, he was found dead at almost the exact same spot he'd seen his friend fall to his death. However, those who believe in the stories know what really happened to W.H.C. Pynchon. Number 3. Winsted Wildman. The Winsted Wildman is Connecticut's own version of Bigfoot. It is described as a large, naked man covered in thick black hair, between 6 to 8 feet tall. The first report of this beast was in 1895, when a local man and his bulldog were out in the woods picking berries. Out of nowhere, a large man covered in hair ran out from a clump of bushes. The wild man then left and ran off, but left the man and his dog paralyzed with fear. As the man then told the story to other people, he noted the wild man seemed to be remarkably agile and muscular, Over the next couple of weeks, he was seen 2 more times. Then there was a pause for about 80 years. And then, in 1972, there was a sighting by 2 young men who claimed they saw a figure about 8 feet tall and covered in thick hair. It was walking next to a barn and then disappeared into the woods. 2 years later, in 1974, the wild man was seen for the final time. 2 couples were parked at night near the Rug Brook Reservoir. They reported a 6-foot, 300-pound creature covered in dark hair. The police went to search, but found nothing. There have been no reports since then, but it is possible the Winston Wildman still lurks in the deep Connecticut woods. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you think I left out any important cryptids from Connecticut, let me know in the comments. In the meantime, I'm still working on the Ohio Most Haunted video. That should be out in a couple weeks. Anyways, peace!